villain.
Wow.
If
Segue.
There's like no reason to tune in, right? So they're constantly manufacturing conflict.
I just want to say that, Andrew, how did you allow Bobby to pull the rug out from under you?
Dude,
I didn't even
just fucking.
It's a welcome change. I didn't want to interrupt, but I was gonna say, like, you're just
speaking of segue.
Speaking of like the media and making villains, you brought up an article that on Reddit that was about a stock scam, right? That involved.
No, it's not a scam. It's just how the game works.
No, could you?
Which is a scam.
Because I was listening to a podcast that was talking about it, and I was just like, I don't quite understand yet what.
Yeah.
I mean, I can explain it very, very clearly. It was Lou's article, but you know, it's funny because I made my feature film, The Market, available on Amazon Prime. But so my movie is ostensibly a conspiracy theory that sort of mirrors the machinations of the subprime mortgage crisis from 2008. But it's not about the subprime mortgage crisis. It's sort of about a parallel conflict that I do believe is possible. And this is exactly, in a way, the same thing from a different perspective. So you essentially have certain people in the public manipulating the market in order to take revenge on short sellers. So for anyone who doesn't know, short selling is basically placing a bet that a stock will fall, right? So you're essentially looking for companies that you think are going to fail, or at least like really have some negative consequences. And then you
also help it along if you're in a position of.
So this is the other side of it, right? It's like you're essentially placing a bet that a company's stock will decrease. And so this is the premise of my movie, right? But if you have enough leverage in the marketplace, right? So if you have enough money and positions in certain companies, you can artificially manipulate the value of these companies. So I guess what's happened is there's this subreddit. I don't really know how that works, but a bunch of people on the internet who are like, they found out that certain Wall Street guys were shorting shitty companies, basically. And what they've done is artificially propped up the value of these shitty companies. So what's happened is that they fucked the Wall Street people, and now they're celebrating. They made money in the short term, but, and this is what pisses me off, and I said this on Facebook, now you're artificially propping up failing companies, which means they're going to crash, and you're not going to steal money from ordinary citizens. So this is exactly what happened in 2008. This is the subprime mortgage crisis again, but from a different perspective, right? So it's not, I mean, it's worse in a way because it's not Wall Street doing it. It's actually ordinary citizens stealing from other ordinary citizens.
Yeah, but there's more to it than that. There's also, it's more than that. It's the created infrastructure so that they can actually do it, right? Like I'm just saying, it's not just, you know, a few guys getting together and going, hey, why don't we try this? I mean, there is an organized effort to make this happen by some pretty savvy creeps.
It's illegal, right? Like market manipulation is illegal. So
okay, but I mean, come on, savings and loan crisis. I mean, like, how many? You can call whatever you want illegal.
Yeah, on a larger scale, it like the people who follow the Reddit thread and did this. This is just a larger scale version of that guy with the rolled up sleeves that rings the bell and screams into the camera that this is a lock. Go buy this. Like it's that, but just like it's like 3 subreddits over from like cats wearing hats. Like that's the only difference.
That's an imperfect analogy. I think a better analogy is that when the subprime mortgage crisis happened, what happened is that bankers were artificially pumping up the values of houses, right? And then they were selling mortgages as commodities. So basically they were like taking, a house that was maybe $100,000 on the market, and then they were artificially pretending that house is now worth $300,000. And they just did that at such a scale that you had this sort of this bubble, right? So you have this fictional perception of the economy as way larger than it is. But eventually what happens is the reality of the market emerges, and then all that, trillions of dollars you realize is fake, crashes down. This is exactly what happened to Enron. It's happened like many, many times during history. Unfortunately, And look, Lou is right in that anybody can do that.
Stop saying that.
But
Stop saying I'm right.
People are doing fucking victory laps because they're like, hey, guess what? Now we're artificially bankrupting the economy, right? It's like, I stole money from your savings, not Wall Street. Yay.
I think they're up to 3 billion now, something like that. I mean,
but that money is minuscule, but over time, if this continues, it doesn't matter who steals from people's pension funds. It's not good.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I would never say, I mean, and this is something I was just thinking about with just about capitalism itself. And there's so many versions of capitalism. There's not one unified system. But I was thinking on the positive, capitalism is probably the system that creates scientific and technological change, right? More than any other system. On the flip side of that, it is the most wasteful, destructive, and it's unsustainable. So this to me is just a kind of obvious example of why the system, why this form of capitalism is certainly not working for the majority of people.
Sure, but
no one's going to do anything about it.
And China's emergence as probably the dominant economy in the world now and for the next 50 years. And what China is doing, and we're, I say we, I mean, because I'm half Chinese, but it's like China is like aggressively expanding, but China's not strictly capitalist. China is an interesting hybrid of sort of communism and capitalism. So it's not just capitalism, right? Because this sort of hybrid is like expanding way faster than traditional capital.
That's why I'm saying there's so many variations of the capitalism. You can't come up and say that there's like, okay, this as represented by the American system is specifically what we're calling capitalism.
I agree, but I think there's a simpler way to describe it. And again, I'm gonna reference you, which I keep doing every time.
Dude.
Mount.
Guys,
Been nice. Thanks, guys.
Name for people are fucking assholes.
You know what it is for me, more than the fact that we're assholes, I think we're barely upright monkeys looking at the stars and going, okay, yeah, I got it. This is what it is. We don't know shit.
Steal from you so I can benefit. That's what we're playing now.